How's it going? How's it going? It is I, TJ. Welcome to M5 Property Addicts. Another day where we talk about anything and everything around property. And we do this in South Africa, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, Pretoria. Yeah. And if you've never been here before, we buy properties and we rent them out. Predominantly, that's what we do. And we do this every day. So we come out live every day and we talk about it. And we talk about different topics. The idea is for you to get awareness of what you can potentially do. What do you mean potentially do? Potentially do with your money, potentially do with real estate and property. And if you are watching us from wherever you are watching us, let me know in the comments where you are watching us from. Like I said, my name is TJ, and let's jump into the conversation of today. And today, as it is, you do know that, I'm kind of like celebrating within this week 9 years of being married. And I actually wanted us to talk not about marriage today, but today I wanted us to talk about kids, because I've got 2 kids of my own. And 2 of these kids, one is slowly getting into 13, and the other one, she's getting slowly into 6. So I got a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old. But I want to talk about the fact that when I was trying to figure out, and this was the days when I was employed, right? When I was employed, I was trying to figure out, how do I make sure that when my kids go to varsity, and I don't know whether varsity will still be a thing by the time they grow up, with the amount of education that is changing so much. So I was trying to figure out what should I do? How should I prepare for my kids? And boom, my wife and we did some investigations with the limited information that we had at that particular time, because we were lazy to kind of like be in the circle of other people that are doing great things. And out of it, we actually realized that having what they call educational plans or educational saving policy, whatever you want to call it, but saving up for your kids' education is very important. Well, I want to just speak today to a different alternative. And some of you are going to slay me here, and some of you are going to love it. And it literally woke up, or should I say, when I figured this out, and I didn't figure it out on my own, by the way. I actually want to give credit to one of my buddies. He's out in the States. His wife was pregnant, and when the wife was pregnant, he literally bought what they call a fourplex. So it's a small, in our language here in South Africa, it will be a complex with 4 units in it. That's what's called a fourplex. And he bought that property with the intention that when his child reaches university stages, boom, it's paid up. And I was like, whoa, hold on. Like, my mind went into overdrive, man. So guess what I did? I quickly went to see how much we were paying for our policies, for our educational policies, not funeral policy, ne? Difference there. Education is you're saving for your kids' university. So kind of like you have a conversation with your planner, financial planner. I don't have to talk about it. You have done it already, isn't? You know what I'm talking about. And then they decide which school you're going to go to. What are you saving for? Are you saving for high school, or are you saving for the university? A lot of us, we've said we want to save for universities. But a lot of us actually haven't even thought about it, right? But I want to speak to 2 people. Those that are not even married yet, and those that are married and don't have kids. And if you don't have kids, if you do have kids already, I am going to speak to you last. So, chances are that if you're single right now, you're thinking that potentially at some point you are going to get married. When it does happen, it's okay. We are going to do whatever that needs to be done when the time is right. And potentially you don't even have a boyfriend or girlfriend. That's okay. I think I'm going to start that business coming up a little bit later, where I can hook up people, right? On a serious note, I think I can. Because I've got a 100% success rate. I introduced one of my mates to now his wife. They've been married for 12 years and 100% success rate. So you can depend on me, right? Because I've had success. I've had success there. Right. 12 years of success. That's what it means. Okay, let's come back to the conversation that we are having. The conversation that we are having here is, have you thought about the alternative of maybe, right? And it's unfortunate that I didn't do this then because I didn't know. So what am I talking about here? The concept of you saving money into one of these companies that we do have in South Africa. I don't have to mention names. You already know them. Some of them are green, some of them are blue, and all of those things, right? And you can save your money with the hope that in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, it's going to pay you some form of an amount that you can take your kids to school, whether it's varsity or whatnot. So you're saving, right? And I just want to ask you the question that, have you checked lately how much they are giving you on that savings, irrespective that your child is going to be around about 20 by the time they are 20 or 19 or 18? Maybe you haven't. So I'm just trying to nudge you here. Go and check, right? So if you're not married, maybe the thinking that you should be already thinking around here is, what are the alternatives? And the alternative that I would like to present to you is that you can buy a property. It doesn't need to be having like a good property. It doesn't need to be like in an awesome location. It doesn't need, you can just buy any small property, right? Let's just say today you are not married, you go and buy a 1-bed or 2-bed, 1-bath. Right now, you can double check in an area called Florida. I am sure that you're going to find those units. In an area called Windsor, I am sure you're going to get them. So these are the properties that I'm just giving you examples here, right? Of areas that I factually know that you can get for 300, roundabout plus minus 300,000. So you buy that property today. When you buy that property today, it is not for you, it is for your child's education. Now, some of you are like thinking, okay, TJ, what do you mean? You're not married, right? We're talking to the guy who's not married, or to the lady who's not married. By the time you get married, let's just say in the next 2 years, you put in a tenant in there. Your tenant is going to be paying up your bond for the next 2 years. Boom, benefit 2 years. You get married and you decide, actually, you know what? I am married, so my partner now has we now have a little bit of surplus, and then you start paying towards maybe 100 Rand or 200 Rand on top of the bond, on top of what you are getting already from your tenant, and boom, you move your bond repayment from roundabout maybe 20 years, and you start saving off another 3 years or so by just adding in another 100 Rand or 200 Rand. You do the maths. I'm just giving you an example, but it can be done. Right? Once you have done that, by the time actually you are pregnant, both of you are pregnant, and you now have the baby, and it's now around about 3-4 years, and boom, you have actually gone around about 8 years into your bond repayment. Potentially by the time when your child is around about 10, you could be very close actually paying off the bond on your property. And from high school, that property can be paying off your school fees of your child. You've got two benefits there. You got two benefits. The benefit number one is that you got a tenant that is paying you, and that money goes directly into paying off your school fees for your child. Whatever school fees is going to be, property appreciates, rent is always going up. So it means that your money is secure. But this time around, you didn't invest the money. You didn't put in the money. You went to the bank, you borrowed the money, and the bank gave you that money. And for that reason, you get a tenant, and that tenant now pays off your bond. Let's just say you are now married and you don't have a child. The same formula applies. This is serious, guys. Let's say you are married and you just had a child. The same process applies. Let's just say my child is 6. The same process applies. Let's say my child is now 12. The same process applies. The only difference here is that obviously now when I am roundabout, when I'm going to reap these benefits for my 12-year-old, that's going to be totally difficult, right? Because now I kind of like need to do a double payment so that I can catch up, right? But again, it can be done. So for some of you who qualify to get a bond, you can do this for your kids, man. You don't have the burden of educational in the future. You don't have some of these companies promising you things that I don't know. I don't know if you ever reap the benefits of that. I don't know. But mathematically, it's not showing like we can, because look at the inflation rate and look at the savings rate, how much you're getting. So you do the maths and tell me whether that's feasible. But all I'm just basically saying is here, even if you get a property that you are just breaking even, right? I generally don't advocate for such kind of things, but it's a different concept here of what you are wanting to do. Why are you buying this property for? If it's cash flowing, awesome stuff. You take all of that money you're paying off. Let's just say you're paying it off. And you can ring fence that property into a company. In that company, your child is the successor of that company. They are miles ahead in terms of what you can do. Well, seeing that I've told you that, and maybe I've kind of like messed up with your head a little bit, you don't have to be living in a big house. You can live in a moderate house, and now starting to have these other plans for your child, for your kids. Hey, what about you got 5 kids? Well, same process applies. But do you get this? Does it make sense? If it's making sense, thumbs up. Give me some thumbs up. Send me some comments. Say, TJ, this makes sense. It's something that I can do. Can you do it? I think everyone can do this, actually, right? If, for instance, your savings plan, you're going to be paying, let's say, 200 Rand, or let's say 500 Rand. My thinking here is that even if you're going to get a bond and you have to pay a surplus of 200 Rand, I think it's a better savings than actually giving someone else your money to manage it for you. Here, you take the control in terms of how this property is being managed. But obviously, if you don't know how to do this, guys, it's something that I wouldn't like you to just go out there and do. My suggestion is that first thing first, you need to figure out, do you know how to manage properties? If you don't know how to manage properties, get a professional helper. Someone who knows, who's professional, right? If you don't know how to actually buy a property for investment purposes, that's why we've got the M5 Property Varsity for you to come in at Lane at 297. Seriously. This is of importance, national importance, generational importance for you to do. If you are like me, you came from a family that is not successful, that is rich, then it is your duty to be rich for the purposes of your generation that is yet to come. I don't know how I can stress this one out, but when I was seeing this strategy, I was like, wow, this is an amazing strategy. Anyone can implement this. It's not a big house that you're looking for. It's not a flamboyant investment. You can do it with any property. If this has been of great value to you, drop in some comments. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, and if you haven't subscribed, now is the time to subscribe. And why would you want to subscribe? Obviously, so that you can get this content when we go live and you can be able to see it. And over and above that, we can reach as many people also, because the more you watch with us here, then, you know, we get to also expand within, so that more people can be educated, just like you and me, right? Had I not started learning from someone else back in the days, then this year that's happening here would have not been happening. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TJ Tara Jack. It's been great. And you can hook up my book for free on our website. It's in the comments where you can hook it up. It's great hanging out with you today, and happy Thursday to you. And let's check each other again tomorrow. God bless. Goodbye. Cheers.